Plaintiff Shannon Andrusek says when the defendant, who is her daughter, was younger, she was bullied because of the color of her skin. Shannon claims as time went on, the defendant started smoking pot and ultimately became addicted to pain pills. Shannon's suing her daughter for breach of contract. Defendant Whitney Andrusek says she and her mother never had a good relationship. Whitney claims when she was 16, Shannon had her thrown in an adult jail where the other inmates were trying to convince her to do heroin. She's countersuing for car payments.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Hi, Judge Mathis. I'm here today to tell my daughter I love her. And, sorry.
Need some tissue?
It's been a tough road with her.
How so?
Well, I moved from Florida to Greene, a very small town, and my daughter was about 13 or 14. And then she started high school there, and she was bullied because of the color of her skin. They used to beat her up and call her names, and I think that's affected her a lot.
A lot of people did that at the school?
I tried to talk to the news about it because even the sheriff was in on
so
it.
you did do something, fight back.
Of course.
Okay.
I love my daughter.
Good.
And then
Some people just take it.
No, nothing happened, so I decided to move to Binghamton.
Okay.
I sheltered my kids. I didn't have a good upbringing, so I was strict, probably too strict. And then they seen the outside world. My daughter got into a lot of trouble with younger kids, started smoking pot.
At what age?
About 15. And then she tried to get my other daughter. I have 4 children. She's my oldest. She tried to get my other daughter to smoke marijuana as well. And I had a talk with my daughter, and I told Whitney, I don't want it in my house. I don't want it around the house. So she promised me that she wouldn't bring it in the house anymore. And she went to school the next day, and Sutton told me as a parent to go through her room, because I don't just go through their stuff unless I feel like something's not right. So I went through her stuff, and I found homemade bongs.
Homemade bong.
Bongs.
Okay.
Bongs.
B-O-N-G.
Bongs.
Right. That's
like
the
3
big
of them.
thing you smoke weed with.
Yeah,
folks,
out of
whoever
Pepsi
doesn't know.
bottles.
It's a big, long tube that's like that wide. And they have the weed.
Yep.
You smoking, you're trying to get real high. You smoking that bong, you ain't just trying to get regular high, you're trying to get real high.
You been in my dressing room?
Huh? I've been in your dressing room, right.
So I ended up calling the cops and pressing charges against my daughter. I felt that it was right to teach her a lesson.
That's right.
They did give her a court appearance ticket, so we went to court. I don't remember what was said, but I had said something to upset her. She called me an B.
In the courtroom?
In front of the judge. And all kinds of bad things, told me she hated me, and the judge said, well, I was gonna let you go and just talk to you and give you tough love, but since you wanna disrespect your mom, I'm gonna give you 4 weeks in like a juvenile jail.
That's exactly what I would have done. All right. And my mother would have done exactly what you did.
Thank you, Judge.
And that's what I advise parents who have out-of-control children. Unlike what people believe, the same prosecutor that want to hold you liable when your child does wrong, that same prosecutor you can go to and say that my child is, because it's illegal to be incorrigible. That's illegal. A child just can't be incorrigible, not go to school, not obey, stay out overnight, do whatever they want. That's against the law.
And that's what she was doing.
You go to the prosecutor. So that's my advice to parents who are dealing with incorrigible children. And that's what she was at that time. So what has happened since then?
Well, she met a man, and then she got into Oxycontin, or Roxy 30s. For a little while, she became very aggressive and violent when she didn't have them, but I'm proud of my daughter to say today she's been a year clean.
Good. Good. So why don't you give me some background on yourself before we get into the contract that she's suing you about?
First, I would like to address what she said. That's a lie.
What part?
When we had, okay, so we've never had the greatest relationship. When I was 16 is when I started smoking weed. It was very close to me being 17 years old. My mom actually requested that I go to jail, and I spent 2 weeks in jail. And it wasn't juvenile. I was in an actual jail in the county that I
lived.
lived
Underage,
with
though.
girls who are talking about, oh, you should try heroin. Heroin's the greatest thing ever. Like, that's not a place for a 16-year-old.
Did you go back?
Yeah.
You went back to jail?
I did.
All right. Well, she did you a favor. She took you where you like to go, where you wanted to go.
I guess.
She just took you home. Go ahead.
Well, when I was 17, my mom actually had kicked me out of the house for the whole marijuana situation. I was homeless. I was like couch surfing, spending the night at friends' houses, people that I didn't even know if they would let me sleep at their house. I would sleep there.
Because you didn't want to follow the rules.
Abandoned buildings. One time, this couple, I was walking up the street and they asked me to take a photo of them. And my mom had pulled up in her car and she's screaming profane things at me, saying, oh, that's why you have chlamydia and why the are you hanging out at the bar? You're only 17. And mind you, I never went inside the bar. I stopped there to take a photo and she had pulled up at that very moment. She's always been like that, always called me bad names.
How about the Oxycontin?
That is true.
Okay. All right. At least you're honest there. I don't know who's telling the truth about the other, but I will applaud you for calling the police.
Thank you.
On her when she's incorrigible. And I'm not sure whether I would encourage, and I don't quite frankly encourage parents to put teenage children out, but I encourage them to do everything short of putting them out.
Judge Mathis, I didn't
Don't
throw
cook
her out.
for them, don't buy them any clothes, don't help them in any way. Take their key, they have to knock when they want to come in, and if it's after 1, I'm not waking up. So you will be out that night. You just have to go back wherever you left. That's where you got to go back to.
Agreed.
So the only thing is the roof over their head, and then worry the devil out of them about getting the job so they can get out. You tell them that enough, hopefully they'll get the message.
But I didn't kick her out, Judge. She didn't want to follow the rules.
Right,
so I
she
said,
left.
if you don't want to follow the rules, then you can't be here.
The only
She
thing
chose
that I
to leave.
wasn't doing was I wasn't listening to you when you said that I couldn't smoke weed.
No, and then you were coming in and out, staying out really late, wanting to come home, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, she was telling you right. You are a minor. Even right now, with weed being legalized throughout the country, it's for adults. It's just like alcohol. You cannot smoke weed unless you're an adult. So she did tell you right, and she did admonish you correctly because you were doing wrong.
And I did it because I loved her. If I didn't love her, I wouldn't have shown her all that tough love.
Let's get to the breach of contract you're suing her for.
In December, I had a promissory note that I had her sign.
Tell me about the loan
I'm
first.
sorry, July. Well, I had a car. The book value of it was $3,600. I was going to sell it on Craigslist, but I knew that my sister was going to buy it, and then I knew my daughter needed a car. So I said, well, I'll sell it to my daughter for $2,000 because I know it's reliable. So my daughter agreed to pay the $2,000 in payments. I told her to start in December. She signed the promissory note in July.
Let me see it, please. Told her to start paying in the upcoming December, and that was in July.
Correct.
All right. What did happen with payments?
She never made any payments.
All righty.
I have text messages saying that she'll
All right,
start
ma'am, let me
paying.
hear from her first. What do you want to tell me about this?
Well, as she stated, she says that I never made a payment, but I have proof of the cash apps that I had sent her. Plus, I had my daughter back in October of 2018. My mom had come down. I gave her $200 in cash, which I don't have a receipt for.
Not true.
Well, if she shows me something where she's paid.
In November.
Even a little, because you claim she's paid nothing. Let me see it, please, Doyle.
November of 2018, she knew that I was struggling being a new mom, and I was struggling with my rent. I didn't have a job. She said that the car was a gift to me, that I did not have to pay her anymore.
Okay.
Not true.
And the loan was made July of 18, and it says, for my Hyundai four-door, and will make payments starting December 1st. Yet, you want me to believe that you were so committed that you start paying 4 days later. The contract was signed July 20th. The contract says you don't have to start paying a dime until December. But you want me to believe, as you've given me, that you decided to start paying 4 days later, July 24th. You had until December to start. Instead, you were so anxious to pay, you paid 4 days later. I have never heard of a person that paid their bills earlier when they are in financial hardship, so I don't believe it. Your counterclaim for $412, how does she owe you?
That is what I paid her for the car.
All right, well, how long did you use the car?
In July of this year, I believe
How long did she use the car?
1 year.
Oh, well, that was a good deal. $400 for a whole year? I wish I had that deal. You got any more cars? I can get for $400?
I don't even have a car.
My point is, your claim is dismissed because you used that car for 1 year, certainly worth more than $400. And your claim is granted. She admits to owing. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I don't even know.
Really? Really, Whitney? You're gonna do me like that? Stop.
Oh my God.
I love you. Stop. Stop.
Okay.